Hey everyone, it's Brad Ross from MakeMagicMoney.com, and welcome to a DVD sneak peek from the Eric Paul Super Conference. This video is called Surviving in Any Economy, and now, here's Julian Franklin.
Thank you. Somebody is always making money. Somebody is always making money. And no matter what. You know, we're obviously in a tough recession, and the recession has affected everybody. Even if your business is growing now, even if your business is up from where it was last year and where it was 2 years ago, it has still affected your business because it has affected so many other people. And so you cannot deny that if your business is growing, you've had to do something different than you were doing before. Everybody's business has changed because of this recession. This is the worst recession since the Great Depression. And everybody knows the Great Depression. None of us lived through it, but we know the Great Depression because we read about it. And when you read about it, you know 30% unemployment. Holy smokes, we're all worried because we're almost to 30% unemployment. For almost a decade this went on, the Great Depression. And so when you read about the Great Depression, you read about the suffering, the bread lines, the soup lines, people selling apples, people selling eggs, anything just to get through the day. What you don't always read about is the 1/3 of the country that got through the Great Depression in no worse condition they were when they started. They had a job, they held on to their job, they were scared, but they kept doing what they had to do to make ends meet. And 8 years later, they came out of the Great Depression in the same place they were when they went in, and they were happy about it. And what you really almost never hear about, unless you've really studied this, is the 1/3 of the country that during the Great Depression made fortunes. Some of the greatest financial empires of our time were built during the Great Depression. Legacies that the great-grandchildren of these people still can't spend all their money. They can't even, their only job is to give away all the money that their great-grandfather and great-great-grandfather made during the Great Depression. Why? Why do people make money when times are down like that? Because some people get it. Some people understand that change is always coupled with opportunity. And so we're going to approach some scary times. This is a major recession. And it's affecting everybody. One way or the other, it's affecting people. And it's scary because we're thinking, when is this going to end? Is it ever going to end? Of course it's going to end. Even the Great Depression ended. So the question is not whether or not it's going to end. The question is, where are you going to be when it ends? I have a loquat tree in our backyard. For those of you who don't know, I didn't until my gardener put it in there. A loquat is like a little tiny fruit. It's about the size of maybe a really big marble or a small golf ball, yellowish, orangish kind of a fruit. And so when this tree blossoms, insects come, they fertilize the flowers, and then when the blossoms fall off, I know it's time to prune. And so I go through and I cut off about 1/3 of these clusters of completely immature but fertilized fruit. And I just get rid of them. Because I know that a really good loquat is so sweet and so juicy. And the bad ones are like chewing aspirin. And I know how to make the loquats on that tree really sweet. All you got to do is get rid of about 1/3 of the fertilized fruit. Because that tree can only get so much sunlight. And the roots can only pull up so many nutrients from the soil. And when it spreads it out among all that fruit, they all kind of suffer. But if you can prune those off, then the fruit that's left gets way more than their share of what's going on. And the ones that get more than their fair share, that's the fruit that you want to eat. So my daughter and I sit underneath that tree during the summer and we eat till we just can't eat anymore. And there's still plenty of fruit. A lot of it falls to the ground and rots. Right now, the economy is pruning our businesses. But here's the really weird part. There's not some benevolent gardener that's coming through and doing the work. There's not some homeowner who's doing the work. You guys are pruning yourself out of the marketplace. You're allowing your customers to prune you out of the marketplace. And there's no need for it. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to get pruned. You're going to end up on the compost pile. You're going to rot with the other garbage. And then you're going to come out in the spring as fertilizer for the rest, and it's going to start all over. There's going to be people who do that. There's people right now who are so scared that they're just tucking in and hiding and waiting until this is over. I don't want to spend any money on advertising. This is all I got. I don't want $97. You don't even own a business. You don't even own a business. If this stuff seems expensive to you, you don't even own a business.
Wow, pretty powerful stuff. So, do you own a business? Learn how Julian Franklin has not only been surviving this recession, but in fact, how he's been thriving in it. Visit ericpauldvdset.com right now and grab your set. I'm Brad Ross for MakeMagicMoney.com, saying do what you love and love what you do.